So let's start with the, how do we put this? New Nintendo 3DS XL was revealed, followed by what can be perceived as a lot of tears. I mean, a lot of people were not very happy with this thing. At least the vocal audience that follows us and that talks to us seemed to be upset. So let's set this up.
So you were awake when the news broke.
Yes.
You saw the Twitter and IGN comment reaction.
Yes.
I only saw it later because I was driving.
Well, so to be fair, some of this broke the day before Nintendo Direct because of leaked advertising from what can be presumed to be, I think, a GameStop employee.
Yeah.
And the poster said, new 3DS XL, and it's, have you seen it? And a date. I think it was February 13th, which was accurate. And it showed Majora's Mask, a box shot of that, and a box shot of Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. However, people started asking, where's the poster for the smaller one?
Where's the little one?
When Reggie comes out in the Nintendo Direct, he says, new Nintendo 3DS XL, and he never says any other model.
Yeah. And not even, there wasn't even the smaller model will come later. There was no, it just didn't exist.
That's about it. There was a statement issued by Nintendo talking about how they carefully consider products for each territory. They went with 3DS XL because they thought it was the right fit for this one. So we need to talk about this. A couple of other things attached with that. No AC adapter. Obviously, we've been talking about new Nintendo 3DS for a while. You know all about the C-Stick, the improved 3D. If you listen to this program, I don't have to tell you all these things. But I guess the surprise was no AC adapter. Brian and I have been unboxing a lot of stuff lately, and every time an adapter's not in it, Brian goes, why? And I tell him because overseas that's been a thing. Well, finally in North America, that's a thing. So there isn't an AC adapter included in the package. Nintendo cites the reason being to reduce costs. It is selling for $199, February 13th, and
there's another product type in the United States. I mean, if you buy a new Kindle reader, right, like a Paperwhite or something like that, there's usually not a plug in there, and that's because it uses a standard.
Yeah, which the standard being
like
mini
USB to micro USB, right?
Got it.
And so they are assuming that you already have this because you have a computer, and or they think that you're upgrading from an older unit and so forth. And so it's different here though because you have a system with a proprietary power adapter.
This is true, and they've been using the same power adapter since DSi, so you do have options if you have prior devices, but for a lot of folks, the mentality becomes, well, I want to trade my old one in afterwards. I'm not going to have the power regardless. Like
you have to trade in the power adapter when you trade in
whenever
the unit,
you
right?
trade in a product. I think either you lose money or they don't take it. So for some folks, that's a reality. They don't want to do it because they're saying, I'm losing the power adapter. I'm going to have to buy that myself. That's an additional purchase of. I'm actually going to look that up. But anyway, this happened.
Yeah, I think to me the big bummer is that there was an opportunity to actually move towards a USB system with a new generation of devices, and then you get to this point where you don't even need to include the plug anymore. It makes more sense to not have the power adapter and kind of save a couple of dollars. So it is a weird move. I don't think it's the end of the world. Like a lot of us are upgrading, right? And I think maybe as Nintendo is looking at their potential audience of early adopters for a system like this, they're thinking it's upgraders rather than first-time purchasers.
Yeah. So on Nintendo's website, this is the Nintendo store, store.nintendo.com. If you browse through product, the adapter that works for 3DS, DSi XL, DSi, 2DS, 3DS XL, and new Nintendo 3DS XL,
Damn it.
sorry, that's a lot, is $995.
Okay.
From Nintendo directly. Like not buying it through Amazon or another vendor. I would assume GameStop is around the same price. So you're paying $10 extra plus tax.
Yep. It's not. Look, it's not the end of the world.
I don't think it is either.
It is a shrewd. It's a shrewd and weird move because you're talking about proprietary cable and adapter. That's what's weird about this.
I agree.
And and like the DS is already, the DS family is already a little weird when you compare it to other consumer electronics that I can't just go to Europe and plug in my US 3DS into an outlet there, even with a little converter, because the power adapter itself is different too. You need to buy a new one. Whereas like your iPhone, you can just plop a different thing on there and it automatically switches currency. The 3DS doesn't do any of that.
No.
So you have to have a different power adapter in every territory. It feels messy. It's something that they have to redo and fix once and for all. In the meantime, I mean, $10 is not that bad.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree.
It's just weird.
Sure. Yeah. So then the heart of the matter becomes that we've been talking about new Nintendo 3DS since it was announced in August for Japan, and they had two models. And Brian has asked this question for a very long time to me, and actually a lot of people on Twitter have asked me, should I get the smaller version with the faceplate, swappable faceplate? Should I get the larger one? And Nintendo just sort of made that decision for everyone and said, no, XL is all you get.
You know me, I wanted the smaller one. So
You did.
Because my most recent 3DS purchase was the Zelda Special Edition Gold, with a Triforce.
Yep.
So the 3DS, I like the added battery life. It's really nice for longer flights. I like the I don't get as much fatigue, but it is big, and it's not something you can as easily carry around in your pocket. And I also like the smaller screen better because it looks crisper. It's not like the 3DS is not a graphical powerhouse, so the added size of the screen does blow up the graphics, and it doesn't actually, to me, doesn't look better.
Yeah.
So I was really looking forward to the small one, but more importantly, I'm a huge Super Famicom fan. I love the colored buttons. It's just an aesthetic little thing, and I love the idea of switching the cover.
The faceplates are a cool approach, Brian.
So I think from the start, it was a bad idea to make one of these things aesthetically more sort of delightful
unique
than the other. I think from the start, before we got into region specifics, before we started talking about charge cables, before we started talking about screwdrivers, which we probably will in this show today too.
In a second, yeah.
I think it was a bad idea to sort of just limit this customization to only one side of the family. It doesn't make any sense to me. Because it made me sit there going, do I want to lose the larger screen real estate, which I got very comfortable with over the last few years? Or do I want to customize? Do I want to buy a bunch of cool different faceplates? And yet again, every single time they launch one of these things, there's the colors that they give you, and then there's the colors that that are coming. And we didn't get white. We didn't get white with the Famicom buttons. We didn't get the smaller version. So not only have we had to wait longer than anybody else in the world to finally get these in North America, when we did finally get the announcement, it was just kind of marred with what or why or why,
So, not to make excuses for them, but I do think part of me does believe that this decision must have been made by a lot of metrics for the U.S.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. The XL model has to be outselling the smaller model. And if anything, you have noticed over time, the smaller model 3DS, the one that was first introduced, the layer cake design, slowly disappeared from retailers. In all of the advertising, if you go to Target right now, at least last time I went to Target, which was about a week ago, looking for Rosalina, they had the 2DS, he totally missed that, and they had the 3DS XL, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's been quietly phased away, and the 2DS sort of became that cheaper replacement.
Yeah, I know it's interesting. I first thought it was strategy that the large new 3DS would replace the 3DS XL, and so you're replacing one SKU with the next. It's a simple value proposition for a retailer. You don't have to add on more shelf space. You're just replacing a SKU, and then the budget unit is the small one, the old small one. Rather than replacing it with a more expensive newer unit, you're actually going budget now with a small one. But that's not what's happening. It's really, really odd. What makes it super odd, of course, is that in the UK you can buy the small one.
Yeah.
And in Australia you can buy the small one. And so the small one to me seems like it's a device designed to carry around with you, and you change the faceplates. It's like a fashion, it's almost like a fashion accessory
It
too.
is what Game Boy Micro wasn't. Game Boy Micro was marketed as a fashion statement.
Yep.
And there were
shots
swappable
of people pulling it out of their weird little coin pocket in their jeans.
Well, and they had faceplates for that too, ironically.
Yeah. I had a bunch of them.
But on the flip side, I mean, after the initial shock, I'm like, really? They're doing that? I was like, all right, well, that makes the decision easier for me, right?
Yeah.
I'm fine now buying the same size unit. Weirdly, my last one was the Zelda one, and then the new one is the Majora's Mask one, which I don't think looks as good as the old Zelda design. To me, Majora's Mask, I'm sorry, it's a dark game. If there are colors that I associate with that franchise, it's purple and crazy
Black
green and
blue.
black and the crazy orange on the mask, not gold. And so that, even though I'm a huge Zelda fan, that's not the one I pre-ordered. I pre-ordered the Monster Hunter
Good
edition.
choice.
Yeah.
Good game.
Because it's silver and cool looking. And,
Absolutely.
And hairy.
Yeah, this is a weird spot to be in. Also, factor into just putting this out there as maybe another reason why Nintendo backed away from this in America, but it doesn't make sense for them to. I feel like NOE is taking a lot more chances with their market. You'll see more limited editions over there. You'll see, for example, the Majora's Mask system comes with the game over there, doesn't come with the game over here. When that happens, also it kind of makes Nintendo of America look bad for the most part, whether they want to admit that or not. And maybe that's not their decision, but it's something that is part of the conversation on the internet. People are talking about that. But
I wish there was a little bit more, just
consistency.
More of a, no, not. I wish there was more information. Like I would have
Yeah.
loved to hear from Nintendo
Well,
what the reasons are. Is it like,
yeah,
is it
sure.
difficult to have that many SKUs?
Well,
Is
let me
it
present
you
this.
can't make enough.
Yeah.
You know what is
the
it?
first week these two systems came out in Japan, the XL model outsold the smaller one 2-1.
Yep.
But big but. Here's the caveat. Was it because Monster Hunter came bundled with it?
Oh,
You know.
yeah.
Was Monster Hunter? It came bundled with the XL model. There were XL bundle. I think that was the only XL bundle at launch, but still. Or was it just that people preferred the larger screen? Are the faceplates even selling that well in Japan? Like I don't know.
I think it's racist. They think Americans only like big things. And
I think so
big
too. It's like
hands
to go with our cheeseburgers and giant cokes.
Of course, we're joking, but we clearly don't know why. But okay, let's then transition to.
So that's a negative. I mean, the positive is it's a cool machine.
It is a cool machine,
Yeah.
and it's definitely something that I've been playing for months, and the 3D is better, and the battery life is slightly better, and the smaller one is more convenient for right now for me. Like the larger one, my one negative with it is it's glossy and it's the fingerprint magnet that you didn't.
is.
It's like having a Vita again. I'm like,
Yep.
well, I'm carrying this around and I get fingerprints all over the place.